My name is Meg Devries, and this is your song. I'll put it simply, I think you suck, and you're that loser who never grew up. Such a shame you're so lame to regret the way things went down. I hope your next girlfriend hears you in the song, rips out your heart and does you wrong. That is, if you can find one. So while you're out there pretending you got the last word, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll have the radio play the song I wrote for you. See, this is what happens when you act like a jerk. You get a song of your own, and it stains like a curse. So let's just be honest. We all know you're wrong, but the thing you did right was you gave me this song. Who's got the last word now? 'Cause obviously you couldn't figure out, but I bet you will now. You should have realized I don't back down. I hope she was good, I hope she was great, I hope it rains on your wedding day. See, this is what happens when you act like a jerk. You get a song of your own, and it stains like a curse. So let's just be honest. We all know you're wrong, but the thing you did right was you gave me this song. Who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? Ow. See, this is what happens when you act like a jerk. You get a song of your own, I hope it stains like a curse. So I'll just be honest. I'm glad you were wrong. I'm glad that you suck, and I'm glad that you're gone. So how are you doing, fool, now that I'm gone? I bet you're doing alright. You're starting this song. See, this is what happens when you act like a jerk. You get a song of your own, and it stains like a curse. So let's just be honest. We all know you're wrong, but the thing you did right was you gave me this song. So who's got the last word now? Thank you.
Hello everybody, welcome to another Musicians Journal show, Northern Michigan Musicians Journal, where we have all kind of interesting guests and stories to help beginners, and sometimes the pros even get tips from us. My name is Dolph Swick, and this is show number 9. Really great to be here. I've got my assistant and co-host Mary Fair sitting to my left right here. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Ada. I mean, Dolph.
Dolph, that's right. Yeah, I'm trying to use my stage name. You think it's hard for Mary? It's really hard for me. I refer to myself as Adolph all the time, and really I should practice because my stage name is Dolph now. As we do usually, Mary will start out. She's got information on events in Traverse City, and she's a lady about town, so she knows what's happening. And then she may have a question or two for me. I understand that she went to the library to research Dear Abby and Ann Landers columns, and she found something that was quicker, and sounds like the questions were usable. They're about bass guitars. So take it away, Mary.
Okay, one of the events I would like to mention that on Saturday, July 25th, out at the state park, the Disability Network unveiled their first Moby mat, which would allow disabled or physically challenged people to go along the sand on a fiberglass plastic mat down to have accessibility with the water. And so they had the celebration and dedication there on Saturday, and it was a big success. And a lot of sunny weather, and they're planning to have other celebrations for Clinch Park, West End, and Bryant Parks coming in the future.
Very interesting, Marion. That's good. People that weren't able to make it there, I'm sure, are glad to hear about that.
You know, and people were able to try it out. Those who may have wheelchairs could ride on the mat, and or people who could follow the mat with white canes just to get down to the water, and you know, the uneven surfaces of the sand. And
did you ever see a seeing eye poodle?
No, I never did.
I just you mentioned white canes, but well then, well, what else information do you have then? Is there more for this show?
Okay, well, I think that's I've heard from Robert over in West Africa, and he's still enjoying our show on the internet, and so that's just another plug for Up North Media if you're watching it online. And then today too, that I heard that we may be taking part in coverage of the National Cherry Festival Parade, as well as the appearance of Elmar Leonard. Up North Media.
Are you going to be there?
Not at Elmar, but I have helped with the Cherry Festival Parade with different cameras and shooting the B-roll, and that's always a very fun experience, you know, working the sidelines of the big parade.
Yeah, because when you said we, I mean, I'll be eating cherries, but I'm not going to be in the
Right,
festival. But
right.
The cherries are good. Great, Mary. Well, you know, we do have an interesting guest today. So
Yes.
so we did away with, well, the question.
Well, we have to ask the questions first.
Well, one of the questions is related to a band story. I could kill two birds with one stone, maybe, but.
Okay.
Tell me how did you get the information this time?
Okay, I went to the library, and before I pulled out the microfilm on the Dear Abby and Ann Landers columns, I spied a musician's questions and answers in the trash. It was called Ask Jose Cabrera, and the two questions were about bass guitars. I'll ask you one for this show and save one for the next show. There is no date for these, but the paper is really yellow and old looking. I never have heard of Jose Cabrera before, have you?
No, actually, I know there's a Jose Antonio Cabrera. He was from Argentina, and he helped Cordoba declare its independence from Argentina, but it doesn't say anything about him being a musician. Then there's Jose Cabrera, who was a Mexican boxer.
Okay.
Who won the super flyweight boxing championship in November 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And the last Jose Cabrera that I know about was a Colombian guerrilla leader who was killed in an airstrike last year, supposedly. They never found his body, but
Okay.
So I don't know who asked, but if it was where did you find that?
I found it in the trash can at the library.
Good work. Good work.
Okay.
Mary.
Awesome.
Well, then, what is the question? Did you find the answer, by the way? Because I'm not supposed to see the answer, but.
Okay, well, I didn't, you're the person who has the expert knowledge of the guitars, so
Okay,
maybe
okay.
so you can play it by ear. Dear Jose, I got myself a fretless bass. I thought it was cool, but even since I haven't had it, the guys said I sound flat. It has lens on the neck, so I know where I'm putting my fingers. and I keep the strings tuned, but when I play, I continue to be flat. No one in the band knows what to do, and I am afraid either they will replace me or some of the guys will quit and start their own band. I sold my regular bass. I can't afford another bass. Do you have a magic answer?
Thanks, Mary. As a matter of fact, we're going to need somebody to hand me my fretless bass. I just happened to bring the fretless bass because Mary talked with me on the telephone earlier today and said it's going to be about bass guitar. So I actually brought 2 basses today. But we're all hooked up, so I can't get up to get my fretless bass.
I'll be out there.
You're watching Northern Michigan Musicians Journal, and we had to take a short break because I'm wired up and I had to disconnect so I could go get my fretless bass. But as you recall, Mary asked the question about a gentleman from a paper she found in the trash, and it was Ask Jose Cabrera. So I don't know what Jose's answer was, but I have a fretless bass, and some of the fancier fretless basses do not have lines on them. But this one does have lines, but there's no frets there. It's completely fretless. And none of the guys in the band, this guy's band, did it have a person's name? No. Anyway, they didn't know anything about guitars or basses. So one thing I can tell you is if you are used to playing a regular bass with frets, you're going to want to put your finger just below the fret, and the fret blocks the string. But when you have a fretless bass, you have to practice playing with your finger right on the fret line. Now, guys that don't have fret lines they're sophisticated. But most fretlesses help you out with this. But if you don't play with your finger right on the line, and it's very difficult after learning how to play, putting your finger below the line. But if you do it below the line, you'll always be flat. And if you detune your bass so that it compensates for that, that has another set of problems. This is a fretless carbon bass. It's a beauty, and I've played it a few times. And in fact, when I started playing, all the guys said I was flat. But our lead guitar player, John Slough, knew something about basses. And he told me about the lines. So it was very hard. It's very hard. Even today, like, I don't play this bass as much anymore. But thank you for the question, Mary.
Okay.
And that was really good research. And finding that in the trash barrel, we'll have to find out who Jose Cabrera was. He must be some well-known musician that does
He must be.
So, so now you folks are all wondering who is sitting to my right, which is stage left, right? This is Megan DeVries. And she's the person who opened our show with a song. And we're going to take it over now to Megan. I'm going to put my bass down here. Okay, Megan. Well, tell us first about the song that you opened the show up with. What's the name of it?
Your song is about a jerk. And I couldn't shake the breakup with him for a very long time until I wrote your song. And that was my way of closure, and I feel pretty good about it now.
Yeah, it was a good way because you couldn't get closure from him, and it was a good song. Very, very good. You're very creative, and it's nice to have someone younger on the show too, because music does seem to change. I know when I was young, the Beatles were popular, and my dad said, "Get the shotgun. Look at those long hairs." And now that long hair doesn't mean anything. Everyone goes the way they want. Some people shave their heads, but it was a big change. People don't realize how big of a change that was, and you're going to be the next big change.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes.
Well, so tell me then, what got you started in music? When did you realize you had the ability?
Oh, I got a late start musically. I've always been a writer. And when I started playing guitar, it came together with writing and music, and I just knew that is what I was supposed to do. So music brought my writing to life.
Great.
Absolutely.
And did you take lessons first, or did you just get a guitar and start playing?
I didn't take lessons. I dated a guy who played guitar, and he said that he could play my favorite song ever, and he showed me one night, and I said, I'm going to learn how to play that song if it's the last thing I do, and he showed me how to play it, and then I just went from there, and I couldn't turn it off.
Now, for beginners, tell them how hard it was to get your fingers to do what you wanted them to on the neck.
I don't remember it actually being that hard, just because I wanted to learn the song so bad, and the chords were easy. But once you get more developed and want to get better, that's when it becomes hard. Now it's hard now, learning how to play more chords and bar chords and becoming better at actually playing. That's what's hard. It's really hard to position your hands right along the neck and to make...
Well, thanks, Megan. I know my first song was Gloria by the Shadows of Night, and I had to play E, D, A.
Oh.
And I learned to play A, which is barring my finger, but not hitting the high E string, muffling it. And it's true, you just keep doing it a couple hours a day, and before you know it, your fingers hit the strings good, you know.
And you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like magic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's great.
Well, where have you played lately?
Well, I actually just played for the MSMA at Borders Books.
MSMA, Michigan Songwriters and Musicians Association.
Yes. And we had a performance on Saturday night. And I do believe you also played.
I was there, and you sounded great.
Oh,
and,
thank you.
Terry
Thank you.
Senecal, the one lady who founded that organization, was on our show a couple weeks ago.
She's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I played there most recently. I've also played at Quinn and Tootie's Irish Pub in Grand Rapids.
Oh.
It's kind of like a hole-in-the-wall fun bar, and I've played there a couple times. So.
And that's right. We did not say where you're from. Megan's from Grand Rapids. So the show is getting out there, you know. And Grand Rapids is significant because the Michigan Songwriters and Musicians Association has a branch out there now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Corey Cole.
Corey Cole is in charge of that branch.
Nice chap.
Corey played last night also.
Yeah.
At Borders.
Yeah, we have to get Corey
Saturday,
on.
no, not last night,
Saturday night. He was fun. And
Yeah,
he broke his D string. That was entertaining.
Yes, that was interesting how, you know, what do you do when you break a string?
You restring.
Yeah. So, do you have any questions for Megan?
What is your favorite genre that you often play in, and who were your early influences?
My favorite genre to play?
Yes.
I suppose country pop.
And then to listen to?
I love to listen to folk. Mostly folk. Rusted Roo, Bright Eyes. I also listen to Taylor Swift a lot, and that might come out in my music. So she's country pop, which is kind of like what I am.
Okay.
But yeah, I like a wide variety of music.
Okay.
And what kind of guitar do you use?
I have an acoustic Takamine and an acoustic Breedlove, 12-string.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And which one did you play for the first song?
I played the Takamine.
Oh, okay.
The little 6-string.
You'll play the 12-string.
Yep, I'm going to play the 12-string for the next song.
We're going to have you play at the end of the show.
Yeah.
If there was something you could tell people that are starting out, like what would, words of wisdom, what would you have to say?
Follow your heart and don't let people tell you what you should do or what you shouldn't do. Listen to them, but don't let them influence you. And just say what you have to say, because that is the most important thing. And writing songs is kind of how I show myself to the world and how I show the world who I am. And that's what's important to me. And if that's what's important to you, then do that no matter what. That would be. Really
great, Megan.
How do you become inspired when you're writing? Do you have it on actual experience or what?
Like, what's my inspiration for writing a song?
Yes.
It's hard to say because it just hits me, usually. Sometimes it'll just come in my head, and then I sit down with a guitar, and then it just comes out. And a lot of times I formulate bits of words and thoughts in my mind over time, and they all accumulate. And then one day the big picture of it just hits me, and then I can just play it. So it's hard to write on command. It kind of just has to come to me.
Okay.
Inspirational. So you're saying some songs you can do all at once and others take time to develop. Can
For
you
sure.
Can you do a whole song like the one you first started the show out with? Did you do that all at once, or did you change words to it?
Your song was probably the longest process
Oh, it took
to
a long
develop.
time. You changed
It,
things.
yeah, I remember a little over a year ago formulating on the way home from a Dave Matthews concert. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I just had the thoughts in my head. And so I started writing just these random ideas down that I wanted to say. And a couple days later, I sat down and formulated the body of the song. And it was okay. It was long and all over the place. And over time, it finally just became what it was, probably a few months later. And then I took it to some friends so we could start recording it. And we made it even better. And so it was a long process. And that song in particular was a long process.
Oh yeah. Concerts are inspirational. They're good for even people that aren't musicians. But
That's true.
have found myself to have had feelings of inspiration after going to hear somebody.
Yeah,
You know,
it's awesome.
and Interlocken's a good place to go to hear bands.
Interlocking is
Yeah.
so cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Or even at the open space during Cherry Festival, where Kansas is playing this year, and then also the tribute band tribute to the Beatles on Thursday night.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, fun. I'd like to see them.
Tribute 1964.
Fun.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be happen before the show is aired, right? When is it going to be?
It's going to be next week.
Next week, yeah. We'll probably, it takes a half hour to do a show, but it takes 4 hours to edit it. So,
Yeah.
and we're not going to edit it today. We're going to take it easy after the show's over. But and this is a capo. And
It is.
Do you use this when you play a lot?
I do.
It's customized, huh? You got real diamonds on it.
Those are real. Yep.
Yeah.
It's bling.
Bling? Oh yeah. Great.
My life savings went into this capo.
Well, and that's an important thing. Cost.
Yep.
It costs a lot of money to those guitars, and do strings cost a lot? Where do you find the biggest expense? Not counting driving to gigs, but
Maybe paying other musicians to play with you, or recording fees.
okay, you had to pay for the recording fees that you were talking about, and
You generally have to, the studio that we're planning on going into, there's an hourly or like a block of time that you pay for, and that can get expensive.
what do
And
they charge? What do they
copyrights.
charge for an hour?
This was, I think, $300 for 10 hours, which is
10
actually
hours.
pretty
Oh, flat rate,
reasonable. Yeah, so that's pretty reasonable.
You think mentioning them would be good PR for them?
It could be.
What's the name of the
Yes.
studio?
Well, Mike Dollar is the producer, and I don't know the name of the actual studio, but it's in Greenville.
Oh, geez, so you even had to drive a ways from Grand Rapids.
I haven't been to the actual studio yet, but my friend Tony Reddick and Anthony Raglan go there quite a bit, and they are the guys that are producing my songs and developing them, and that's where we're gonna go for recording.
So, since his name is Mike Dollar, is it hard to get change from him?
It is. You have to give him $300 in cash.
300
write him a
in
check.
cash, no change. Well, that's really great, Megan. Tell us about your next song that you're going to play for us.
Happy is written about loving everything and loving everybody and loving the earth and just being really happy. And I got the inspiration of the first line. It's kind of like a scene in my head. I pictured it happening at Wheatland Music Festival, if you guys are familiar with that. Just under a sunset, right in between some of the tents. And it was originally just spelled happy with the regular spelling. And then after time, I thought about it, and I switched it to Happie, like hippie. So it's kind of like a hippie song.
Happy Hippie.
Happy hippie.
Okay.
Yep, so it's kind of, my boyfriend had said the word hippie, but he spelled it wrong, and he spelled Happy, or Hippy, hippie, and I thought, well, that's how you spell happy. So then I switched them.
Well, that's pretty interesting. That makes me think of a science fiction fair. I used to go to science fiction fairs before I got married in the 80s.
Okay.
And when they had music, and they even had a whole room dedicated to music, they call it filk music, F-I-L-K.
Oh.
And so it kind of fit in with the science fiction thing, and all that. But really, I found out the truth of it was that they did a typo
Oh, they didn't mean
It was
to call
supposed
it
to be
filk.
folk music.
Oh.
And they
Okay.
changed it to filk.
That's
and
cute.
everyone says this is more science fiction-y, so everyone played filk. And they got a little more avant-garde too. They played weirder stuff, and it was more science fiction instead
So
of just
it was more
folk.
filky than folky.
It was filk. Yeah.
They created a genre of their own.
Yeah, the genre, I haven't heard filk lately, but somebody should have pushed that genre, you know. Not to go on about the science fiction fair, but one of the works of art I wish I could have afforded, because it was a picture of a wolf howling and there was 2 moons instead of one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because he was on
yeah.
a different planet.
Yep.
He was on a different planet.
Under the September sun, he thinks he's fallen in love. She's beautiful, but to hold her hand, he's got to understand that she loves everything that breathes. Barefoot and free, falling down to the ground with me. Make more love, plant more trees, and you'll see, baby, how free it is to be happy. Two flower children now, and somehow they're still on earth. He loves her so much it hurts, and she loves everything that breathes, including him. And he is her summer sun, hands down to the ground with me. Make more love, hug more trees. I'll speak for peace, and you'll speak for the trees. We'll feed it love and watch it grow into a spinning ball of peace. And after an Indian summer or two, we'll still play under the harvest moon, proud of the love in bloom. We'll be barefoot and free, falling down back to the ground with me. That's where I want to be, face up with you, your eyes to the sky.